I can still picture her entering the house that morning with a dazzling smile, as if she had just come from a relaxing spa day or a long weekend retreat. The light captured her perfectly as she threw her bag onto the entryway table, her laughter reverberating throughout the house. I stood there, coffee in hand, pretending to browse through my phone as my heart sank to the pit of my stomach. "Morning, sweetie," she chirped, planting a quick kiss on my cheek. Her lips lingered, soft but telling, as though she were following a routine and not kissing the man she vowed to love forever. I replied, forcing a smile despite my tense body. I wanted to confront her right then and there, to scream and demand answers, but I didn't. Not yet. I needed her to see it, needed her to understand what she had done, and to know there was no turning back. My name is Evan, and I've been married to Maria for 7 years. On the outside, we were picture perfect, the envy of our friends, the pride of our parents. You know the type. She was my college sweetheart, the girl everyone admired, the one I couldn't believe said yes when I proposed. We built a life together, a home. We traveled, laughed, and dreamed about the future. Like any other couple, I thought we were happy. I was happy until a month ago. It started small. You know how these things do. She'd come home late from work more often, claiming deadlines and demanding clients. She was glued to her phone, texting, late at night, turning the screen away when I glanced over. The excuses were endless, each more flimsy than the last, and yet I didn't want to believe it. But suspicion has a way of eating at you. Like termites through wood, it chews and gnaws, until you can't ignore the hollow feeling in your gut. So I did what any husband in my position might do. I looked for proof. I wasn't proud of it, no one ever is, but desperation makes you dig. And I dug deep. It didn't take long. A late-night text left on read, a forgotten email notification, and suddenly, there it was. His name. Mark. A guy. From her office. Young. Single. Exactly the type of predator who leans into married women when they're vulnerable or bored or just not satisfied with what they have at home. I followed the trail, like breadcrumbs. The night before, I had placed a small covert camera in the living room. It wasn't even about catching her in the act anymore. I had all the evidence I needed. I wanted her to see it, to confront the ugly truth she had been carefully wrapping in lies. I transferred the footage to my laptop, made minor edits, and when she left for her girls' night out, I connected the laptop to our TV. The same TV she turned on every morning for background noise. This was the last piece of undeniable proof, the security footage. When she arrived home that morning, I could tell by the way she smiled that it wasn't for me. She was still thinking about him. About them. The irony was so scathing that it almost cut me. My fingers twitched as I tightened my hold on my coffee cup, but I said nothing. I wanted her to calm down, to let her guard down, so she would think she got away with it. "You're up early," she said, kicking off her heels and throwing her jacket over the chair. "Yeah, couldn't sleep," I replied, my voice steady but my mind racing. I casually replied, even though my heart was racing in my chest, "Babe, I'm sorry." She gave me that saccharine smile again, the one I used to fall for, but today it made me sick. She went over to the couch, grabbed the remote, and turned on the TV. The screen flickered while I held my breath. At first, she was unaware, partially distracted by her phone while lounging on the sofa. But when a quiet giggle started to play, she froze, dropping her phone onto her lap as her eyes darted to the TV. What she murmured was drowned out by what showed on the screen. The video continued, spliced together from the camera I had placed in the room. It showed Maria sitting at a dimly lit bar with Mark, her hand on his arm, and a smile brighter than it had been in months. She didn't notice the footage of them stumbling into the living room, kissing, undressing. Her face went pale, Her voice cracked as she turned to face me in panic. "Evan, what are you telling me?" she stammered. I spoke in a terrifyingly calm tone, and she jumped off the couch, trying to reach for the remote, but I stopped her. "Maria," my voice was piercing, "you wanted to smile through this, but now you'll see what you've done to our marriage." Her eyes welled up with tears. "I can explain this," she said, but she couldn't. I pointed to the screen. "You brought him into our house, the one we built together." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I had never seen her so shaken. Now she was choking, tears streaming down her face. My voice cracked, and the anger, the pain, everything came. Rushing out at once, I shook my head, laughing bitterly. "Oh no, Maria, you don't get to walk away clean." I didn't shout. I didn't break anything. I didn't do what she probably expected. Instead, I handed her a neatly folded manila envelope, something I'd prepared days earlier. She whispered, clutching it with trembling hands, "What is this?" "It's everything you're walking away with," I said coolly. Inside were the divorce papers I had already signed. My lawyer had made sure of everything. The house, the savings, even her car, all under my name. Thanks to a very clear prenuptial agreement, she was entitled to almost nothing. "No, no, no," she stammered, flipping through the pages, her voice breaking. "Evan, you can't do this, you can't." "Oh, but I can," I said, stepping closer. "And I will. You see, Maria, actions have consequences. You made a choice. You chose him over me, over us." She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing into her hands. I didn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. That ship had sailed the moment she walked through the door, smiling like she hadn't destroyed the life we built. I moved out that afternoon. I'd packed my things the night before, leaving her nothing but empty hangers and the memories of a life she threw away. As I left, I looked back one last time. She was still on the couch, clutching the divorce papers, her face pale and streaked with tears. I could have said more. I could have yelled, cursed her name, or wished her the worst. But I didn't. Instead, I left her with one final sentence. "You don't deserve me, Maria. And you never did." The divorce was smooth. She tried to fight, of course, begging me, sending me lengthy, tearful messages about how sorry she was, how it was a mistake, how she loved me, and how she wanted to make things right. I didn't reply. Eventually, she moved in with Mark. At least that's what I heard. Their relationship didn't last. It rarely does when it's based on deceit and betrayal. As for me, I moved on. I discovered true peace in a life free of her lies. When people ask me if I regret anything, I say that I don't. Because I knew I had already won the moment her face turned pale and her lies fell apart around her. And there's nothing more fulfilling than that.